5 seconds. I guess it's recording now.
Now it's recording. All right, I think we are ready to go then. So welcome everyone to yet another PTC Nordic Talks. And today I actually just realized that we have had now 30 webinars since we just started last year. And for today's webinar, we are super excited by having Veronika Grozdanovska, who is digital transformation leader at Novotek, for a session on digital transformation. It's not about the technology, it's a way to shift business model innovation into IoT adoption. But first of all, for those who do not know me, I'm Torbjörn Peterson, and I'm the Partner Ecosystem Manager for PTC in the Nordics. And we are running these webinars every week, same time, where we invite customers and partners for some inspiration on any hot topics in digital transformation to see what is possible and how to make things happen. And all the past webinars have also been recorded and are to be found on the registration site for this event as well. And the agenda for today is first a quick overview of PTC by my colleague Carl Jansson from the IoT AR team. And then Veronika will start by introducing herself and Novotek, and then touch base on a few challenges regarding digital transformation, how to address these, and then explain the business outcomes. And at the end, we will also have a Q&A session, so please keep your questions to the end. And this webinar is also being recorded and being available in just a few days. So over to you, Carl.
Yep, thank you. If we can shift to the next slide, please. Yeah, thank you, Veronika. So PTC is a 30 years old international software company whose headquarters is based in Boston. We provide software mainly for manufacturing enterprises with a focus on the digital transformation. We started with CAD and PLM, and now since a few years, we are introducing SaaS, IoT, and augmented reality. To you, Veronika.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me to this session, and to all of you who connected. I hope you will enjoy these next coming 30 minutes with us. So probably a lot of you are now going to think, what is this person talking about? Veronika Grozdanovska is my name. I will actually let you through some slides here, but I really want to say it's not about the technology. And sitting here now in front of you with a partner like PTC, working with Novotek, probably a lot of you will think, but that's a lot of technology. It is, but what we want to raise our level to really talk about the transformation piece. So why is it not about technology? I'm absolutely obsessed about asking the question why. You can imagine how interesting child I was when asking these questions thousands of times, and I still keep doing that. Why do we actually come with this statement? Because we are confusing today customers, ourselves, and absolutely employees, of course, digitalization and digital transformation. These two are very, very different concepts, what I would say. And for somebody, digitalization means really just put paper into a computer system. For somebody else, digitalization means connecting the whole eco network, meaning like Uber, like booking.com. They have been doing a complete digital transformation of the hotel business, as an example. So I think, first of all, what do we mean with the concept? It's really important. The next thing is all about, we tend to do things that we always did. What does that mean? Yes, we think probably we build it, and then we will absolutely come together with the thing, so the customers will come to us. And the last one, which I'm so passionate about to talk with you all about, is really the people. We kind of lost sight of this one, I think, believing in what I've seen during my business years here, because we are absolutely getting more and more technology into our hands. We are absolutely amazed by what we can do, even with our small little iPhone. But we kind of lost track who is really behind that. So this is actually what my presentation will take you through. I'm starting with a report that I read some days ago, and it's actually on the PTC homepage, so you can download it from there probably. There has been a survey done, and it was really done in 2020, which was probably a kind of crazy year. Nevertheless, the important thing with the report, I would say, is how you can really see and follow how much investment we think customers and companies will do all around us during year 2020. You see the number there, the market size is really huge. And then the other thing which I felt was really impressing, and you can read it, there are many, many slides, but one thing that really kind of kept a highlight in my eyes was really about thinking about cost, thinking about growth, and think about the experience. What you would see here, which is really driving us forward, is that the difference in percentage is absolutely starting to be aligned. So yes, we all want to cut down cost, of course, and we will do it in different ways. But equally important starts to be, how do we think we grow our business, and how do we actually think about the experience in the end of what we want to achieve? So I think for everybody, just go there and read through this report. It's kind of great interest, especially if you want to look into the digital transformation. Okay, we go to next one. Here now we come to my own transformation journey. Why would I say this now? It's because it's quite important to do your own internal transformation. You cannot go and preach about we need to transform if you don't really know why you're doing it. So I started very early in 1990s, computer science, and I was super passionate about already then about information. I didn't really like the programming part. So I end up working for a company who already then did actually build their own SCADA tool. So basically what we did, we sit down with the operator in the factory and we asked him, what do you really want to see in front of you when you look into your screen? And this is how we built the whole human machine interface at that time, the GUI. And just by pressing a button, the code was generated. It was wonderful. That was for me digitalization as well, right? So that was really how I started the whole journey about getting into how important it is to get the operator. And then I was building up a lot of other technology expertise and competence with all my jobs. So I've been going into the deep embedded technology aspect up to the whole cloud situation. And it has been absolutely important and crucial. And this is what the customers also think, of course. It's important to have the technology competence. Otherwise, you cannot really have a discussion about the business, right? After some years, of course, I went into different roles, and this is where the process thinking comes up, the data thinking. What do you do with all the data? What do you really mean when you say that you need to make your processes more efficient? So having the roles that I put there, I will start to think that's really where I get engaged more and more into the whole operations thinking. Now we are building technology together with processes, but in the end, where do we end? The people. And I think this is, if you think about the journey here, it's really about, I want to turn it around. People first, right? But you need to have all these aspects with you. And when you talk about people, it's all about really to understand who you have, both in your company, but also outside as a customer. So basically my kind of getaway from my life was really something that is going on in the business every day today. People communication is key. Without data, you're just another person with an opinion. I love this quote. And of course, in the end, power of telling the story. Why do you need to tell your story based with facts? Because that's the only way to get the right insights for your business and for your customers. So I kind of like to put that together. Now we are coming into, you feel now, how is all this coming together with Novotek, with PTC? That's a great question, right? Again, I want to come to the point that we are starting with 3 key questions. Why do you need to actually go into digital transformation? And here I see the whole thing about the people and the culture. In the end, you need to put everything together in the partner ecosystem as well. How do you get there? Absolutely, as I said before, it's really about the data and the communication in between the data. And what do you actually get out of it? You get better insight, you grow your business, and in the end, it's all about getting new revenue models. So why is this now coming together and how? You have been hearing this before. What are the 3 kind of parts for a platform? And you can see different, even here, explanations. But I listened to somebody yesterday, and they were talking about the engagement layer, And this is pretty much what I would say the people layer that I really want to get involved with you about. You have the data layer. Here we have a combination of skills that both Novotek and PTC has, because you need to understand data. What kind of data do you want to put in your technology? And then you have in the end the infrastructure layer, where we all know about PTC, about ThingWorx. To have a platform like that where you can really combine and scale when necessary, but still start with the small things that is most important for you now. That's really the power of having the right platform. So this is somehow how I will say it all comes together. At least this is what I've been discussing now with some customers after coming back from my 16 years abroad into Sweden. And Swedish market, of course, is different, but nevertheless, there are many common behaviors. So how did we now end up with thinking about the technology, thinking about the data and processes? We were looking for a partner where we can also use a methodology that is actually putting all our thoughts together. And we found a partner named Chakra that we are now together working into using the whole system that is really already proven. And it's more like I would not say it's a product, but it's all capturing the whole three pillars that we're talking about. So first of all, we need to have a common understanding and between us and with the customer. Then the most important thing is that we want to talk about is really the map, the as is situation, because we don't want our customers to feel even more lost, to tell our customers, throw out all technology you have today, you need to buy new technology, you need to do new pilot or proof of concept. No, we want to understand what you have today, and that's why the map your as is stage is really, really important. Then we go into the sketch your to be, and here we are capturing everything that has anything to do with the people portion of it. So that's absolutely what is going on in the workshop sessions about the to be state in this framework. And then, of course, in the end, who doesn't want to build a plan for success? But the important thing with this framework is that the success is something where we also go into the whole thinking about how do you really do this in the three ways of thinking: the speed, the simplicity, and the scalability. So you prove the idea, the business model, and then you really prove that you can scale. But as you can see, it's all about starting small and starting in a way that you can see results very quickly. And that's why the methodology is following this kind of thinking. Okay, so then if you think about, I want to walk you through a little bit about the framework, just so that you see that this is nothing that is very fluffy in my brain. It's really something that is absolutely a set of templates that we are following. The focus phase, here we're talking about the whole map as is state. And the important thing is, as you have heard in many other processes as well, the maturity. Where is the customer when we talk about the digital maturity? So this is something that we are actually looking into the focus phase. And we have some tools for that, which you will see here in the next slide. We are going into something that we are talking about the 4Ds. Demand. Do you have a customer that will actually pay for what you want to do? Data. What kind of data do you really need? Do you maybe collect wrong data, or actually you are collecting right data, but you're maybe not really putting into the right applications? Do all data need to go into the cloud? That's not really also always true, right? Data scientist. This is a title that has been very, very absolutely attractive in the market now. I've been talking to customers when they say, yes, we are going to hire a lot of people now because we need to build a machine learning application. And then, but we cannot find them. And when we find them, they're very expensive. And then you start to discuss with them, but do you really need that kind of expertise for that kind of application that you're doing? Have you looked around into your company? You maybe already have some people who actually are the best data scientists, not just because they have the title, but because they have been working with your data for maybe 10 years and more. So they know exactly what to do with it. And then, of course, never ever undervalue the domain expertise. Consultancy companies, absolutely, you should use them whenever appropriate and whenever is needed. But the expertise you have inside your company, that's absolutely key to make sure that you're knowing exactly what you do with your processes. So that was a little bit about the focus phase. We go into the align phase. Here I put the PTC logo as well, as you see there in the corner. And why am I saying this? Because after you have done the first map as is phase, you go into the whole visualization of what you want to, where you want to go. And here we have like 3 different swim lanes, I would say. So it's about the business lane, it's about the operations lane, and then you have the technology lane. And in the technology lane, that's when you really go into and looking into what kind of infrastructure and what platform do you use. We do have customers who are already engaged with ThingWorx, and they already know very well ahead why they picked ThingWorx. But we also have customers where we need to advise them what platform. And for us, the most important thing is really, as I said, about scalability. You need to have a powerful platform like we believe ThingWorx is, because then you can absolutely choose whatever portion you want to start with to go into the whole cloud solution. So I think that's why it's coming together again like a piece in this align phase. The align phase is also very, very key, because that's where you actually go through the processes with your employees, thinking about the customer, in the end, the business value. So I think that you have all heard about the MVP. That's where you're really building the blocks to actually make sure that you're trying and testing out the MVPs very quickly in the process. And the last phase, that's the balance phase. Here, our purpose is really to make it as ready as possible so that we can go out, we can leave the customer. We want the customer to be absolutely self-sufficient. We want the customer to absolutely understand how he can scale, and then up we are out from the process. And I think this is also important, because otherwise we would not be able to come with the statement that we can actually prove that this is going to work for you and be before 90 days or more, whatever we decide, we are going to go out. And that's absolutely where we kind of feel the transformation has been done. Because what we see today, a lot of transformation projects, digitalization projects, they can go on forever and ever. There is no end to it. And then the customer starts to have very, very not pleasant discussions internally, because somebody has spent a lot of money and the ROI are not there yet, because we were not clear enough in the beginning where we want to end. So now all this, you might say, yes, this is good. This is a vision. We are having a methodology. We are merging the knowledge, the competence, the technology that we have inside the company. But have you done this? And here comes the good thing, is that we have actually done it. So now I'm going to walk you through a little bit what happened when we did a business transformation journey with one multi-billion-dollar OEM customer that we have, which are actually, the whole challenge was to make sure that they're using the whole predictive maintenance solution into their new business offering. So first of all, of course, we start with really see what is it all about. When you are an OEM and when you are actually having big, huge assets, I mean, there are many things that you're really thinking about when you're coming from the service department, service point of view. So first of all, you need really to kind of think about to survive. And that's what we call the break fix. So you're probably connecting everything so that you can really make sure that you can make the services to your devices, to your big assets whenever that is requested. But then, of course, the next step in this whole journey was all about getting the visibility to your assets so that you can absolutely make sure that you have the right spare parts in the inventory, that you can schedule the right field service teams, and then you can absolutely provide the accurate forecasting so that you know when to expect some kind of maintenance. And here comes the chasm. Here comes really the breaking point for a lot of customers, because you end up many times to go into this whole thinking about going into this hole about doing a lot of proof concepts, a lot of pilots, and you just don't get out of it. But if you start thinking about the whole business model in the end, then we believe, we saw it with this special opportunity, that we actually help the customer to not go into this chasm, to really walk away much, much quicker. And then, of course, in the end, the whole discussion that we had for so many weeks during all the workshops we had, it was all about getting to what do you want to become, and that was really to go into the outcome-based service values. And the last but not less important was really the product as a service offering, which we managed actually to absolutely create for them. And the whole journey, you look at it as a digital transformation, but you're using a lot of digital tools to get there. You use the technology. So in the end, you will see here, I will not read all, but the outcomes were really amazing when we saw that we could really do this very short time period and really make sure that they're actually having a completely new service model, a completely new product, when they are actually cutting margins, but they are also increasing revenue. So for us, this was absolutely the best proof that it absolutely can work if you are also thinking about the customer in the end, but from the beginning. So now I see I have like 6-7 minutes left, which means I just want to summarize everything in one slide. The 3 pillars that I'm absolutely talking about all the time, it's really people, process, technology. You can start wherever you want, and it will hopefully it's going to be a circle and not a linear business model. But for me, and this is why I'm here today, and I really hope that you're going out from this call thinking about put people first. I think that's something that we all need to start do. You need the visionaries, the startup thinking. Why do you need to be quick to the market today? We are past what we had 10, 15 years ago, when we produce a product, and then after 2 years, when we have ready developed the product, we go out and we sell it. That doesn't happen anymore. So you need to have the visionaries inside. You need to have the motivators. Why are you doing this, and how do you engage and inspire and actually impress your customer? That thinking has to be there from the beginning. You have to have the data gurus. I mean, without data gurus, absolutely no way that we can move forward with anything we're doing today, because we are all getting so much data. If you don't have the people who can help you to judge what data to use for what, we are absolutely going to be lost. And of course, lean thinking. For me, when you say people lean, that's something boring you hear sometimes people say, and then people say, oh, but that's something we talked about 20 years ago. No, I still think the lean thinking is there. We need to have a process in place, and we need to have people who can absolutely drive the operations having that behavior. And then, of course, we come to the absolutely, I would not say the most important, it's not less important, but without the technology, we are not getting there. And here we have the design thinking people, you have the UX, CX knowledge, expertise, and you have the technical advisor. But you build all that on the technology, like, for example, the products and the solutions that we are having in our hands today. So basically, I would say this is going to kind of summarize my mantra for you today. There are 2 things after today. You can either go and sign up for a free course that we have online. You see the website there, and it's not going to take a lot of time. We try to make it crisp and clear and short, so it's less than 30 minutes. If you like what you see there, we are more than happy to continue the discussion about the methodology. Or if you still feel that I would like to know a little bit more, or just to have a coffee with me, absolutely, you have my email address. Next week, I'm pretty okay to schedule many of the virtual ficas. I love coffee. I'm a coffeeholic and I'm a chocoholic. So absolutely, it's more than happy to talk to you. There might be questions. There might be that you just don't agree with what I say. More than happy to talk about that. So I think from my side, It's 25 minutes, and I could have been talking much more, but no, I tried to limit it today. Questions. I hope there is something at least.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Veronika, for sharing all of this. I mean, very interesting insights. So as you said, I mean, over to you guys in the audience and ask questions. I guess you have some questions. Anyone who wants to get started? Otherwise, I'm eager to get started. So I had one question actually. I mean, regarding the maturity level. You talked about that in the focus phase. And what, based on, I mean, your experience, would you say that, I mean, most of the companies are when it comes to the maturity of digital transformation?
And here comes a little bit also maybe a mixed answer between companies in different countries. So I've seen companies where they think and believe they are so mature because they have both all possible technology. They have everything in their hands. They have hired all the possible data scientists. They even have chief digital officer, which is absolutely not wrong to have. You should have it. But when you go and do the survey, and you see the answers, because we are doing the survey with different people from different teams in that particular company, and you get back the answers, and you come into some very interesting discussions with the leaders because they thought they were more mature than they were. So looking at it from the perspective of where we have done it with what kind of customers and companies and countries, I'm not sure yet about Sweden because we are just starting up the whole Chakra partnership with Sweden. But I've been talking to a lot of companies now in past weeks, and pretty much I think honestly that even if we think we are very mature in Sweden, when it comes to the whole digitalization point, maybe we are, but when it comes to the digital transformation, when we are actually thinking about the customer value in the end, how we can build new revenue streams, then I don't think we are so mature in Sweden either. I might be wrong, but yeah, that's my feeling.
Hi, Veronika. This is Hemant here.
Hi.
Just wanted to ask one question. So, what do you see as a most difficult part of this transformation journey from a service provider side of you, like yourself, like So, like you, I am also a service provider in this space. What do you think is the most difficult part for you?
So the most difficult part for me is the hype, the buzzwords that are out there, and the whole thinking that people are overcomplicating. So that's why when I'm talking to you now here, we have been digitalizing processes for many, many years. That's nothing new. We have been doing it 20 plus years. But nevertheless, customers are a little bit struggling to start because they're afraid. They think it will cost them a lot of money. And they just don't know where to start. So I think if there was one thing to remember, it's just make it simple. Speak the language that is kind of making the customer confident that it doesn't need to cost a lot of money and time from a consultant or service provider to help you. You probably have everything internally already. You just need to understand how to use it in the right way and quickly, right? So
Veronika, you are so right, actually. So just a follow-up thought on that particular thought process. See, some of our customers, they get into this dilemma, and then this is actually happening specifically in the industrial sector quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure whether you would agree with me or not. But see, lot of data, basic foundation data that these customers have created. It's coming out that it is not fit for digitalization purposes here. Like end objective or digitalization is something else. So this data is actually one of the biggest problem, and a lot of customers are having a very tough time in appreciating that this is the main problem that they need to address first.
Yes. Because I was talking to a very, very big industrial Swedish company last week, and it was such an interesting. They had everything. They had AI applications. They had drones. I mean, I was so impressed. And then I asked him, okay, so you are so digital and you're so transformed. We have actually nothing to help you with. And in the end, we came to the point that, but they have so much data now. pumping in and pumping out and jumping in and jumping out, and they just need help to understand what to do with all data. So absolutely, to your point, that's why I see people, process, technology cannot go without each other. It has to be together, but maybe change the flow of it.
Thanks, Veronika. I'll connect with you for sure. Yeah,
absolutely. Thank you.
I had one very quick question. I hope, you could answer that as well.
Maybe, Torbjörn, there is someone in the audience, Eric Marnum.
Go ahead, please.
Maybe.
Yeah, I raised my hand.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I just have a quick comment on this digital transformation in the Nordics perspective. It is often been said, and I think many people can attest to this, that we have a so-called consensus culture in Sweden, especially in Sweden, in the Nordics. And I find this a little bit troublesome when you try to implement all-encompassing solutions like ThingWorx or something else, which is touching upon many departments and many roles and functions. So I absolutely believe when you're starting small, but taking the leap, one hurdle there, I believe, is the consensus culture. I don't have so much experience from other countries in this type of software, but I see that as a major hurdle. It could be just interesting if someone else had a similar experience.
Maybe I'm not the right person to answer, but you are so right. I mean, I've been outside from Sweden for 16 years, and it took me some time to adapt to the consensus culture. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we don't need to dwell too long on this, but I think it's a challenge in this type of digitalization. If you have in the UK, for example, I have colleagues in my company where they work with, then you go to the man who is the digitalization chef, and he makes decisions. Yeah. I mean, a little bit over the head maybe of other departments, but that's his role, and it's clearly defined, and he's expected to take those decisions. So here is a difference. I just
no, it's true.
Yeah,
absolutely.
All right, thanks.
All right, I'm sorry to say actually, but time as always, it is running out. So thanks everyone for joining, and of course a special thanks to you, Veronika. And also, stay tuned for the next Nordic Talks webinar already next week on March 26th with SSS, talking about how to structure your digitalization journey. So with that, I wish you a pleasant weekend. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.